Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, covering Season 70, 3 versus 3 Grand Arena Championship. This is the preview episode going into the season. We are right now in the 24-hour join period for Week 1. I am joined by my regular co-hosts, Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. We also have a special guest. He's been here a couple times before. It's been a few months, so it's always a pleasure to check in. Once more, it's Arsenal416. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me again.
All right. And of course, to all the other gentlemen on the call, got a good agenda to go into. But, first thing, let's give Arsenal the spotlight here. Got some questions for you, Arsenal. How large?
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, first account is, how large is your account these days?
Hang on. Before you even jump in, Tass, let me add in congrats to Arsenal, who, along with you, is one of the two members of this group that has been, at one point in the last 2 weeks, number one in the world. Arsenal hit number one in GAC. So hats off to him on that. Just get a little context before we pick his brain.
Oh, yeah. Why is he here? Because he's a peer. He's a great player. And yeah, I fought him twice last season. So, fate wanted us to have a chat. And here we are.
I think you'll find that the current rank one is Giran Kenorn if you look at the leaderboard.
I will pull that right up.
Yeah, well earned.
Yeah, I think we are going to have some Erodiums here for Week 1, because this guy's like 16,000 Legacy Championship points. What are we dealing with here, people? Woe unto they who fight his Relic 6 CLS in not full 6 dot mods.
Yeah. Well, that's all you want, Arsenal. He's going to be our guest next week, so make it good.
I know, right?
Clearly, yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, I think Herbert changed his name in protest, so we'll have to get him on at some point.
I'll double check it, but I want to say it was kind of like a very mild brag, but it was something like number one, something he was, giving himself a well-deserved trumpet from the mountaintop. It's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But let's dig into our interview of you, Arsenal. So, yeah, how large is your account these days, and what's your philosophy on Datacrons that allows you to compete at the top of the game? Is it a lot of farming with some very judicious rerolls, or are you putting some spend into it? Nobody's hitting it as hard maybe as Baby Yoda, for example. But what's where are you at with the account, and how you doing it with Datacrons these days?
Okay. Well, I'm sure, like a lot of people, my GP seems to have grown a lot in the past 6 months or so, maybe a year. I think these new assault battles we're getting with sort of the increased inflow of brains and computers, like my R9s have gone up a lot. Obviously I'm kind of that guy who's like, oh, I have a new R9. What can I apply it to? I don't really wait to bank them up. So I've been sort of pushing the GP and some of the relics lately. So I'm at like 5.76 mil. 15.76 mil.
Yeah.
And then so with regards to Datacrons, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm definitely a spender. When it comes to, especially I think, towards the latter end of the set, obviously I kind of slow down. But when a new set comes out, like for instance, I bought the calendar, like the 600 a day calendar.
Really good buy.
And then I find the Conquest Ascension is actually a pretty good deal for the amount of overall energy you get. And that's usually enough to get you to, part of what I try to strategize, and I think a lot of the people sort of on the top end are doing this, is you kind of have a small window where you can maximize not losing your data cache if you can get an early bank of Datacrons that you can dump your resources into. And I did like the early dust to get rid of my Datacrons, knowing that I would be getting more from the FDCs when they auto dusted. So I tried to put as much as I could into like the existing crons I had, so that I wouldn't lose any of the extra cash, so I could then build up the next set of crons with the FDC influx.
Yeah, if you don't have a large stock of that shard shop currency so that you can start purchasing new crons in the new set, ASAP, yeah, you are going to just waste what, tens of millions. Gosh, somewhere between
Yeah,
like 60 and 80 million credits, something like that. A huge
yeah, it's
number.
brutal. Yeah, so I actually spent a bit on some of the materials just to, I was kind of like, well, let me spend crystals so I can waste, well, not waste, but like spend data cache. So I was trying to build up the FDCs as high as I could first because they would actually spend a fair bit of the data cache. So then it would kind of give me more room so that like by the time we had the FDC's dust, I was down to like I don't know 8 million cash. Like I had spent almost all of it, so I was pretty happy with that. So I didn't lose anything in terms of like sort of the efficiency. Like you sort of have to spend a little bit to to get to the point where you're not wasting anything, but I don't know. I find once you kind of get a good base, then you can sort of take the next couple of conquests off and just coast and not have to worry that like you're powering through conquest to try to get, Datacrons built up for TW or GAC or whatever.
Fair.
So yeah, that's kind of what I do is sort of hit the ground running early and get a couple of the early packs or calendars or whatever or ascensions, and then once you kind of have that base, then you can just sort of pick away at it from there.
Yeah, I think if you are a light spender, great value in definitely that calendar. And then, yes, the Ascension. I usually don't buy the whole thing, but this time I did. Didn't mind it. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will say it's a little bit unfortunate that, and I'm sure we'll get into that. The set is not the strongest, so it it may not necessarily be the one to kind of go all out on, but independent of a few sort of targets that I guess everybody is going to be going after, I guess you can just try to get like Datacrons, where you're not so worried about the 369 and just trying to target certain stats that you can utilize somewhere.
Yeah, definitely agree. There's big opportunities in the new set for a variety of stat sticks. Good ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
Next question. Well, by the way, I guess for participation's sake, Dagger, how you doing over there? You not tied up at the moment?
No, I'm here.
All right, let's drag you into this. You want to read the next question just for funsies?
Yeah, I have to pull it up though.
There you go. Participation's key. I feel bad because I felt like it was just me and the Arsenal.
Yeah. What's your favorite project character mods relics you've recently completed? I know it's not the next question. That's the one I like though.
That's fair. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have sort of a project per se. I mean, I think at the top end here, we kind of already have everything, and we're also if you've been sort of keeping up with the new tunes as they're coming out, which unfortunately I have been. I told myself I wasn't gonna do it on the Pirates because I wasn't really feeling it, but then man, they really do a good job between like, oh, this pirate has an FTC, I better get him. Oh, this assault battle is coming out that you're gonna miss out on all these high end materials if you don't have enough R9s, and then next thing you know, I'm like falling right back into the FOMO and getting every character again. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been keeping up with all the characters that have been coming out. In terms of modding, I have a couple characters that I like to sort of constantly tweak and look for like that next level mod that I can just ever so slightly keep bumping them up, and those two are Malicos and Bane. which ironically are modded almost identically with lots of health and offense. So that's like my sort of my always mod goal every time I see a mod that is like a health mod that has secondary speed and secondary offense percentage. I always shoot for those and look for chances to kind of like bump up those characters. Mm-hmm. And then sort of stealing a page from you, the other one I like to constantly tinker with is Afra, and I know you have a pretty baller Afra team, so you guess you can appreciate that. Okay. But I do like trying to continually push her in terms of speed and potency. So those are kind of like little mini projects that I look for. Oh, and there's one other little thing that I don't know if you guys do this, but Zox and I were talking about this because he's a guildie and also a shard mate for both fleet and squad. But we were chatting about trying to get mods that have both a 5 proc speed and 5 proc offense percent, and seeing how many of those we could get that just have like all speed and offense. So that's another kind of like mini goal of
like that competition.
Yeah, mods. I think I have like 36 now or something like that, and I think he's around 30, low 30-ish. So, but yeah, it's always a fun little one to try to bulk up if you can get like a super mod like that with 25 speed and 7% offense or something like that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, living the dream with that.
Yeah.
All right. Next item, what's keeping you striving to compete in Grand Arena? So, I mean, you've been doing it a long time, and like me, I think you were kind of stuck in a spot like 50 to 20 for some months. Then you broke into the 20s, 10s, and now you're more or less able to hold steady, if not in the top bracket, then only just outside. What keeps you, with your foot on the gas season after season?
Well, I mean, that was kind of it. You hit the nail on the head. There was a span there where I was like constantly like in, I guess call it pod 2, like just out of the top. And obviously, the erodiums play a role in that because that was sort of variable to how many would kind of mess up our order. If you looked at the actual top players, I was probably always in the top 20, but never quite in the top. That could be anywhere down the line of that, depending on how many erodiums there are. So I really just, kind of what kept me pushing was I wanted to kind of break into that next level. And you're right. I felt like I was kind of stuck in that, tier or pod 2 or 3 there. And yeah, I mean, the past few weeks I've been up with the big boys, and I like the competition. It's fun, and it's kind of funny too because like as you start climbing and you seeing you guys so often, you start to become friends and you get chatty with them. I've had chats with pretty much everybody in and around our grouping, and then it kind of gets to the point where it's like, I'm competitive and I want to win, but I also end up like becoming friends with people, and then it's like you sort of lose a bit of the competitive edge because you're like, you don't mind if you lose to a guy that you think is a good guy, So I don't know if you ever experienced that, but
I definitely experienced the I don't mind if I actually lose to this person, but I don't think it cost me my competitive edge. No, I
still want to win, but it's like there's like I don't hate anybody. There's nobody who I'm like, oh, I really got to beat this guy, and if it happens, it happens. But I mean, I guess there's a fair bit of mix in the like a lot of those like Phantom Menace guys that are in and around our group.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody really knows them. I'm guessing the language barrier there is probably part of that.
Yeah, that's mostly it. Yeah.
So like obviously I don't I don't feel the same way about them, but like when I'm facing a buddy like Falcon or Michael, or even the bigger guys like Baby Yoda and Neo that I face regularly, or you, who I can't seem to beat. It's it's good to have sort of a friendly competition with people that you kind of get to know, right?
Yeah, for sure. I enjoy being able to trade notes after the match is over because we're all just trying to get better, get better. So, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, and I think with history, there's no real secrets, right? Like anything you learn, you may have that week that you'd be like, oh, look at this thing that I've done that is not out there yet. Well, that only lasts a couple matches, right?
Yeah, I think maybe with the exception of somebody like Fatal, if not Fatal himself, most what of anybody would consider secret would be how they're executing an attack. I don't know how many surprises you can really hide in your roster. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I just mean like comps you may not have thought to use or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it still doesn't tell you how to do it. It's just some people come up with some creative solutions that is sort of outside of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it also takes somebody who's willing to gamble and not worry about like putting up a couple losses if they like to see what works. Whereas, in the sort of the competitive side, like it's very hard to afford to do much sort of quote unquote testing or gambling, because if one or two matches go sideways, that could be the game, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is usually week 1 of Grand Arena is when I'd like to do most of my testing. Like if I'm going to lose, fine, but let me have the knowledge as soon as possible. And you can't do that in the top bracket. That's the big show. You don't prepare for the grand tournament at the final bracket when you're in it. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, kind of related question. What are you enjoying most in the game these days? So,
I would say, I'm still obviously GAC is my favorite. TW is probably right behind it, although in terms of actual game modes, these topics have been probably done to death in sort of how stale they've become with the sort of the setup of them. The GAC boards, especially for people with our depth, I think they need to be bigger, but I do understand sort of the fine line between the balance of like making us do more work, quote unquote, and letting us utilize our rosters that we've invested so much into. But yeah, I like the PvP stuff. Most of the things are well, actually, one thing I will say, and I know this is going to sound like total like first world problems kind of thing, but I've had so many Omicrons banked that I've started to put a lot of TB Omicrons on, just so like I have something to do with like, oh, I wonder what this team will be like if I give the Omicron to this guy, just to kind of have something interesting to play, because everything seems to be, once you sort of figure out the raid, it's just it's chores, right? Once you figure out the assault battles or whatever, you just sim them. So there's not like a lot of replayability for certain things, but I don't know. I'm trying to find ways to give me more new things to do, and like I said, I've been buying a few different TB Omicrons lately.
Yeah.
Which ironically our guild doesn't care about. So so it's not like I'm really helping us strive for stars. Like we still do 41 stars. Like it's
but I hit that point some months ago where you have so many Omicrons. You have everything for TW and for Grand Arena, and you still have something like nearly 200 materials besides. There's no reason to not start picking up TB Omicrons when you have such a glut. And
exactly.
That's the point where I started to like TB more, honestly.
Me too.
Just a few months ago. Yeah, just the quality of life difference, man. It is worth it just for that handful of teams. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the teams, and I know this is again not really playing, but I like it when you find a team where like, man, if I set this team up right, I can just hit auto and they'll just rip.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the Finn
yes.
Datacron is in TV is so stupid fun. Like they just destroy everything.
Yep.
But the Oppo one is really good too. Putting Order 66 on everybody is kind of ridiculous, especially in a lot of these fights where like you have the anti-revive mechanic. It just makes your life so much easier. Like, oh, good, I don't have to kill this guy 5 times to take forever on this fight.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, that's I guess it took me a little bit longer to hit that point. But yeah, like I think I still have like 280 Omicron mats. It's like, and I have everything, so why not spend them on stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people in this chat, if we don't already, will very soon or most likely have all of the Omicrons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could have almost all of them now. I don't want to completely deplete my stash because every time you have this, like a new, what is it? Every 3 months, you're going to have a 3 Omicron character from Conquest. So, and pretty much every new character has something that is decently Omicron. So, but yeah, I agree. We're all kind of getting up to that point.
Fair. All right. Now this will be the last question that I prepared, and then we'll see if the panel has anything else for you. But any special plans to defeat Tass? We promise not to share him the link to this video.
Yeah, I was looking at our history, and I'm like, so last season I was 7-2, and the 2 losses were to you, and then the season before that, 6-3, and one of the losses to you, and then the season before that, I was 7-2, and one of the losses was to you. So yeah, like I think I'm 0 for the last 4 against you. So I don't know. I think one of those I had it in my hand and I screwed it up in Fleet. But otherwise, you have my number. I don't really know what the I don't really know what
I
the
had
plan
the
is.
answer. I had the answer.
Lay it on
put
him,
all on the
TJ.
spot. Oh
Well,
no, it's for you too. It's for you too, smart guy. I'm just saying like this. You have a guild mate that I know pretty well. Sasha and Tass did it where they set up with Fatal to put the defense. Why don't you guys run it back that way? No pressure,
Okay.
but I'm saying take it out of your hands. You get no strategy, no nothing. Fatal sets it up, you knock him down, and let the better man win.
I'll do that. I don't mind.
That was fun.
It's a ton of fun. Unfortunately, it's just the burden on the poor Fatal, but it would have to be for if you'd accept it. I'll tell you one other secret trick with Tass is get him to agree to do it at a nice late time in the evening when he's really interested in drinking, and then you don't drink, but he drinks.
Yes,
right. I shot for every banner lost, and it's perfect.
It's a great strategy. Or you could always do what Herbert did in the final round and pull both Lord Vader and Slacker off defense, force me to plan for both being in the back, have neither there, and then just trivialize a couple of my teams.
And pull the chair. Yeah.
But that's why Fatal does it, and that way you don't have to worry about it not being set because everything is set, and then you get no win but to figure it out.
Yeah. So
I'm game. Obviously, nothing else is working, but I would trust myself.
All right, those are all the ones for me. But yeah, gentlemen, the rest of you here on the panel, what else you got for our guests before we move into the other agenda items?
I'm proud to finally call you a guildmate again. It's been a while.
Yeah, I was going to say we're kind of overrepresenting VDO here with 4 of us.
Yeah, we went from like all 3 of our guilds being in Maw and all of us being in Maw to now it's like 1 CU, 4 VDO, and a Chromium.
Yep.
Yep.
How the times have changed.
Only one left in Maw.
I'm all right,
I
man.
got one for you, Arsenal. I got one quick. I don't know if it's a quick one, but just you feel free to go with any random thought on this. But if you could make one change to the game, what would that change be?
Ooh.
Here we go.
Well, I mean, I think I've sort of alluded to it, but I think
banning tasks. Is that where you're going? Because that's where I was assuming you're going. But no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I will say this. I mean, the obvious answer is a GAC rework, but I'm gonna maybe go a little bit off script and say I think for the betterment of the game, I think a TW rework would be more in order. And the reason I say that is, obviously we're all in like TW competitive guilds, and the top end is shrunk down so much where, like, in the gauntlet, like, what do we have? Maybe 2 or 3 fights out of 16 or 12 or whatever. It would be nice to kind of get some of the top end teams back interested again, and I don't know what the answer is to that. There's got to be some magic formula that can inject some life into the game mode, but I think the game is in a better place when we have like a lot of guilds, striving together for, get in inter-guild competition as opposed to just, doing the collector thing and doing your GAC every few days, So I think that would be.
I like that.
I think that would be the best thing for the game, would be to get a nice, and obviously something of an overhaul that would. I mean, this is maybe a big pipe dream, but something that would be sort of universally accepted as being a positive. Like, I have no doubt that any amount of tinkering is going to have their detractors, but I don't know. There's got to be something. Like, it hasn't been touched in 4 or 5 years or something. Like, there just needs to be something.
Fair.
That would be my. Well,
I like that.
It was a good one, Sasha. Thanks for throwing that in. All right, we've heard from everybody else with a question, except for you, Fatal. Speak now or forever hold your peace until the next segment.
I have a question. I just listen. Those streams are fun, and I don't mind doing them. I just wanted to point out, you don't need me to be like a confessional priest. Like, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. It's been 2 years since my last week I posted a Leon defense. You don't need my permission to do it. You can just
none
do
of it's
that.
about permission or license from you. It's you want to set rigorous defenses that require you to use not the top of your roster to clear, and it forces us both out of a comfort zone, if any can be had up here, where you really do need to be clean to win for most of these matches. And so having you set a board that you're more comfortable with for both of us is just putting us both on the back foot. That's probably good fun to watch. Nothing about getting license or permission, though. I mean, it's it's just taking advantage of your philosophy on the game.
My point is that I'm jokingly saying my permission, but I'm just saying.
But Fatal, I'm just going to counter your point with yes, huh? You'll say no, but we all agree it's a yes, huh? Sorry, you're the guy. You're the man.
I see his point that, like, it doesn't have to be Fatal. It's just maybe what we use is like the measurement for it here. The metric is like we all can find our comfort zone with what we're willing to put on D and feel okay. And the standard for maybe the mutual accord going into that is, all right, each of us have to go 50% beyond that. Like, whatever it is, you go 50% beyond, or you go, I don't know, however one wants to measure it, 2+ GLs beyond that. That's doable too. It allows us to exercise some atrophied defensive muscles.
The thing I will say is, I actually think the last few seasons have been pretty fucking excellent in that respect. That if you're feeling worn down or burnt out on GAC, it's yeah, man, it's been real good. And I've been talking with other people who kind of just said like enough with efficiency, and like, I'm telling you, man, people's skill sets are getting worse. People are getting sloppy. It's I'm not necessarily confident to say that like top 8 or top 20 will continue to be messy either. I kind of would like to 9-0 this season just to find out for myself, but people are dropping shit that should not be dropped, and I'm very curious on if. I mean, the last I did an audit like 6 months ago of like how many people are playing efficiency, and I was the only person in top 50 who was not playing efficiency. So like on some level, that skill set does atrophy.
For sure. Yeah, you really don't have any other means of practicing it other than live matches.
The number of accounts I looked at where I was like, all right, let's see what this person uses against Leia. Oh, they just have a fun Leia. Like, it's been yeah, it's been cool to see. I feel like I lucked into like becoming a novelty account just by being the last guy standing who still does this shit.
Fair. Yeah, I think, and that's kind of the appeal would be, because you will definitely see. I don't know how far outside of the top bracket it's necessarily a rule, but it's pretty much a rule that it's efficiency in the top bracket. Because even if you're both doing efficiency, the margin of victory is usually under a drop. So unless there is an accord between the two players, you really just don't have the latitude to play with it. Because it'll still happen to you every once in a while too, Fatal. Somebody will scout you from, week 1 or week 2, or whatever the current match is, and then they 1-for-1 you. And that happens rarely. I don't think it's happened to you recently, but I've seen it happen before, and that's exactly the sort of thing that some of the folks would be doing.
The thing I will say, which I think could possibly get your attention, think about it this way.
Sure.
My focus literally it's still on defense,
mm-hmm.
but actually part of why I would tell you that the past few seasons have been so enjoyable is because off-meta offense right now is a pretty ripe field to go exploring and pick up advantages in, and those advantages can immediately just convert into shit to post on defense. Like historically, I've been a defense player by virtue of it's just an easy. It was a lazier way to get wins. Plus, also getting holds on defense is just good dopamine.
It is,
but the feedback loop has shifted, and I would almost say my enjoyment of the game has gone up now because now that I'm putting theory crafting elbow grease on offense, the offense bolsters the defense bolsters the offense. Where instead of like, well, I got some holds and I got to figure out my offense for the season before the season starts, I'm eyeballing like, okay, this I think can off meta that, which lets me post this, which is gonna throw them off of that. That has kind of been my secret sauce for this season or the last few seasons of like, okay, this shit's actually incredibly fun. That yeah, no, it's less these days about heightening enjoyment of defense, more so that I think it just heightens your enjoyment of everything because, yeah, like tweaking your Bane to like 100% win rate SLK or tweaking your BKM to 100% 65 banner LV. Those are tangible benefits that will put you against, I imagine, a lot of players right now.
For sure.
That yeah, it's real shit. Like, if you're feeling burnt out or still GSE at all, I will continue to advocate. It's been fucking great.
Now, I want to say not in week 3, but in the week 2 episode of last season, you went into detail about what makes that BKM counter tick for the said 65 banners. What did you end up settling on as that spec for Bane that makes it so-called 100% effective against Slacker right
now? Frankly, it wasn't anything too scientific. I just tried to slap on good mods and ran Zalbarkron, and ironically, the only battle that I ever lost was the battle that I did a cooldown pull. It just seems to flow pretty naturally.
I see.
There was one Bane battle that was specifically I almost lost, but it actually I almost lost it specifically because I misplayed. So I take solace in knowing that.
Now, is this all health sets with a health triangle, or is that a crit damage triangle?
We're talking on Bane.
Yeah, bang.
Don't remember off the top. It's been 3 weeks. I can pull up the load up right
No
now.
worries. No worries. Don't mean to put you the legwork on.
No, I already got it open right now. Crit damage set, health set 3, health primary, crit damage triangle, 2K offense, solid amount of defense secondaries, solid amount of total health, high protection. I can like screenshot it if you want.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll throw it up on screen. Fine. Sure.
But yeah,
I'm not
really
the
just
only one
kind
who would
of
want to know.
the battles, weirdly enough, seem to broadly flow pretty similarly.
Mhm.
Like I don't have good enough memory now that we're through the off week to like give exact play by play, but you know, you play the battle match 2 on week 1, and then you play the battle on match 3 match 1 week 3, and you're starting to get deja vu of like, okay, this is the turn where Bane has his AoE and Ray's at 5% health, and I need the 3 buffs to dispel so I get the kill shot. It just kept on recurring in a way that kind of surprised me because I figured there should be more variance than there ended up being.
Okay, nice. Yeah, you clearly don't feel like you're running low on health. So sorry.
It was combined with Zabarkron, so
Yeah. So how do you think this is going to change for you when that expires? Wait, didn't that just expire? So it is gone, right?
yeah. Yeah, we'll see how things
All
go
right.
next
So
time
you're
you
still
find out.
rocking it. You're going to test it anyway.
Yeah,
All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
it will be a spicy season.
All right. I look forward to watching. All right, guys. That wraps up our interview for Arsenal. Thank you for indulging us, Arsenal.
Thank you.
We're gonna jump now into the week 1, agenda items. Again, gentlemen, type in whenever. No turns. No need to raise a hand. Just jump right in. But yeah, as far as preparations going into this week for mods and relics, stuff like that, exclude Datacrons for now because that'll be another topic. As far as mods go, I put some more offense, speed, and health into Grandmaster Yoda. He was fun in a number of spots last season. Buffed up my Night Trooper. Gonna try and see if I can slice her back up over 350 speed. Still crit damage triangle, still 100% base potency, just over 10k offense. Being alongside DTP or under DTMG will provide enough crit chance that I don't worry about having exactly 0 added crit chance there. So that's somebody I tried. Darth Vader tuned him up. He was in like the 260s, 270s. Got him up to 290. Crit damage triangle, 100% plus potency. 10-6 offense, just under 80% crit chance. So maybe not the absolute best he could be, but certainly serviceable. I did, a little earlier today put out my Datacron video, and when I put out my little chart for what I recommended, somebody immediately, Tommy, chirped at me on Discord to say, don't forget about the second sister Crom. And I really wasn't thinking about it because most of us are thinking about ninth sister. But technically speaking, on offense, that second sister, level 9, with an Inquisitorious team is murderous. So I had to get her into something, more than just pilot mod related. What is it? About 15,000 special offense, 84% crit chance, 4 offense primaries, something like that. Anybody else about it? I mean, I've just put stuff that's okay on Grandmaster. And the pirates as well. Okay, now this disguised clone trooper, I'm not fully willing just yet to jump into your camp, Fatal. But I did go. I'm still sticking with the speed and health sets, but I dropped the crit damage triangle and I did go for 4 protection primaries. So I went from something like 365 speed to 351, but easily up over 200,000 life total, and just under 12,000 special offense. I still might tweak that in. That's where I've landed so far on that. How about you guys? That's kind of it for me. I mean, I've been like Arsenal was saying earlier, as new characters pop up, I've been trying to slap the R9s on them so I can stay consistent. That's it.
I'll jump in with just a bit. Mine won't take too long to cover, but most of my changes, as I've said in the past, when we get a week off, I tend to take a week off. But I did make some changes. I do most of them sort of oriented around shifts from the Datacron set, so not necessarily diving into the particulars of those, but I paid more attention to my resistance squads, kind of looked at, I think particularly because they have a couple of level 6s that are interesting, one being the stun on special, that I wanted to make sure that their speeds were relatively quick for stun lock options. Then in Inquisitors, I just and I was talking about it before the show with Arsenal and Fatal. It's just sort of like punting around the possibility of giving R9 to Grand Inquisitor, maybe Fifth Brother. But those were thoughts, again, more sort of Datacron oriented. And then the one other thing that I haven't done, and I'll say kind of like tongue in cheek, but I may actually do, is I've considered one mod change, and that is on Chief Chirpa. I was going with a blank triangle. I was probably going to go with a blank cross, and then I wanted to mix it up with a blank circle, and then a blank square, blank diamond, and maybe keep an arrow. I don't know, but like talk about a stat stick. That was the sort of Chief Chirpa level 9. In case I don't know, throw him in with C or something like that. So yeah, those were really the few changes. I guess I put an R9 on Ufu Cal, but that was less about the current meta and more about sort of the inevitability of like finding some value in him, because the survivability it gives, and that's a character that I find I use 60% of the time, maybe less than threes, but when I do, it's always just about the whole team sticks around as long as he sticks around pretty well. So those were mine.
Good ones. Appreciate you sharing. Who's next? Step on up. Don't be shy.
I'll go if you want. Here you go, Dagger.
Yeah, I just, as far as Datacrons went, I tried to go into week 1 with, I try to go in most week 1s. I go to like level 2, and then 3, then whatever I like, I move all the way up, and I try to go out of my way to make sure I get like the 4 or 5 level 9s that I'm targeting for the first week. So I have, for the guild,
we'll talk about Datacrons just after this.
Sorry.
This is about mostly mods and relics here, because we'll cover your Datacrons soon.
That's fair. I don't really all jokes aside, I did relic up the pirates as I was able to finish them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't do a ton of remodding outside of moving Ninth Sister over to health mods. She had previously been in protection mods.
Fair.
Yeah, outside of I moved to a new guild this last week, so had to churn out just some TW remods.
Good,
so
they're putting you to
don't
work
want to
over
discuss
there.
those in depth, but yeah, that was basically my week, was getting into having Zeke stop yelling at me.
Very good.
Welcome to the coal mines. Good to have you, my friend.
Exactly.
Sasha, looks up.
How dare you check my shit? Right? Like, how dare you run my bot and tag me?
Sasha looks up, from what he's doing, sets down the pick, wipes one arm across his sweaty brow, gives you a thumbs up from across the coal mining pit, seeing you there, Dagger. Good.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate that. Who's next?
I'll go if you want.
Please.
So yeah, like I think a lot of us, I'm not really counting the pirates because I think a lot of us have been keeping up to date with them, and that wasn't really in anticipation of anything other than just sort of the next new thing. But leading into the new Datacrons and Yak season, I know we talked about this off stream a bit, but I did R9 my Wampa. I don't know if that's necessarily needed with how powerful his cron is, but who knows? Maybe his cron is too good for him, and we'll find use elsewhere. And a couple of other sort of that have been on the back burner that I figured I would sneak in as the sort of the Datacron shifted towards those teams. So I did Fifth Brother to R9. I already had GI, so I like that. They're the pilots for the scythe, so that's a good synergy too, there. Yeah. And obviously with the Inquisitor Crons, that seemed to make sense. And then I hadn't done Great Mothers, so I did R9 to Great Mother again with the Night Sister Crons. It just sort of felt like the right timing. That I probably should have had that done a while ago, but it kind of made sense now. And yeah, in terms of actual mod. Oh, and the other one I did was sort of a small one, but I R8'd Vet Chewie.
Nice.
I don't know how much use that he'll get. Maybe not so much in 3s, but maybe more so in 5s. He'll have a place somewhere. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I was joking with Sasha. We kind of have this thing where like we can never use any R7 characters. So I figured if I'm going to use them, I better at least R8 him. Actually, the only exception to that is Hoda. I think my Hoda is R7. He really doesn't need anything else. But
man, your poverty, all y'all's poverty offends me.
Oh, shut up. Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of where I was just trying to see where I could backfill a few R9s leading into the season, but yeah, not too much else in terms of mod changes.
All right, appreciate that. TJ, Fatal, any tweaks from you guys this week, or was it just a pretty chill week? Beat up.
They're sleeping.
I guess. No, I'm here. I'm just waiting to see what Fatal had to say. I went wide. I actually did R8 my Vet Chewie as well. I've got ideas. So I went wider on the set. I really like the resistance stuff that's going on there. I also put some mods on my Ewoks because why not? We'll see what gets used or what doesn't get used.
Okay.
No hopes and prayers, but it was fun when the Chirpa was the Nisacron, right? When that was around, I faced it a couple of times and that caught me off guard. So I'm not saying it's going to do anything, but it's like we got a lot of teams and it's brand new week 1. So I was digging the vet, Ewoks, definitely making sure my Rose is up and running. I like her level 9 as well. Well, so it's been playing it wide right now. Obviously, making sure everything else is in line. Making sure my Stick Ray and JTR are also amped up some. There are other 2 that I was looking at just in case.
Yeah. Because so we'll talk about
obviously defense is going to be key.
Well, we'll talk about the Scavcron in a minute. So I mean that's obvious why you would tune her up for this first week. But what's special about RJT? What are you thinking about there?
If you look at the level 9 and everything it's doing, she basically continues to ramp up. I'm wondering if there's room for her to play around with the setup. Right? There's tenacity, there's health still, there's other things we get to do that might cause some shenanigans. It might not. But it's like I'm just looking at I really like all of the resistance stuff, and I like the fact that you can get in front. These are things that kind of make it good. And JTR being able to ramp up even further, I feel like there's just possible merit there. Could be mistake, but it's like I'm not hurting anything by doing it. So I'm like, let me just look at where she's at. So it's just like I was just trying to bump up more of her stuff just to see what can come from it.
All right. Yeah. All right. I was curious. Okay. Anything from you, Fatal? Any tweaks you were working on in the background for this week, or taking it pretty easy?
Yeah, didn't know. Or I thought we were recording at the normal time, so this is normally the time slot where I'd be prepping shit. So nothing really worked on yet.
All right, fair enough.
No, translation. I don't want to tell you yet.
Translation what?
I just said translation. He's got secrets he doesn't want to divulge
We're
yet.
all entitled to our own batch of secret sauce. We're never trying to take that finely seasoned meatball out of the pot.
No, I'm serious. I haven't
That's fair.
actually done any rematch or anything yet. I guess it's gonna have to happen in the next 3 hours with 0 sleep. It'll be fun. I don't know. I mean, the clear candidates for shit to solve is LV needs to prepare for Sir Malicos. I think just based on popularity is I mean, Sir Malicos seems to kind of dwell in the 50 to 60% win rate range, but I would still like to, tip my hand on the scales just to, try to directly contest because I think most other options that people are going to default to this season are things that I'm pretty fine trading with.
I'll be honest with you, having had experience using Sir Malicos against both, set 22 on Lord Vader is tougher to deal with. So I think you'll be fine if you're planning on stymieing Sir Malicos.
Specifically because of defense bomb or
off defense is tough for them, man. Because you need that relief. The damage becomes oppressive. I don't even think I was fighting double offense stack all that often last 3 versus 3. But I remember. I mean, Oppo went down relatively easy. I think I might have lost one and won one. But if I did win, it was sweaty. It was nerve wracking. So probably got something.
Yeah, I do think defense will be positioned well. That's definitely going to be my week 1 starting point. But I think there are some angles that can be played that will put some more pressure on LV if people can find them. But that I will keep close to my chest is we'll cross that bridge if people get there. But yeah, no, honestly, the rest of my preference tonight is actually probably going to be on boosting my B- C+ teams to try to prep them for a more potent offense. Like my defense lineup at this point is pretty rock solid, 13 out of 15. And the rest is just kind of figuring out. Like Saw is in a really weird position now where historically I've always liked Saw in 3v3, but I don't think he's a good enough team for me to post at this point now that he lost that sort of business, unless I think he can just scam a 20, but it's still not upfront power. Yeah, I don't know. I think the hardest thing this season is going to be that I think there's a few configurations of super teams that I just really need to hammer out my offense before I lock in to try to make sure that I can't get flanked by various super team configs that I will not say because I don't want to see them.
Yes, and they will be around. Rest assured, week 2, right? We'll see them.
I may never see these squads, and I'm okay with that. I look forward to hopefully that being true.
Okay, we'll find out. Okay, of course, we're all excited, more or less, to talk about Datacrons now because we've been farming up here this last week, getting ready for lock-in. So, as far as focused Datacrons go, again, in my infographic today, how did I rate them? I want to say I put the Rolo one first. If only for the level 3, I mean, there's reason to take it up to 14 for the stats as well. But the 3 is the gold, the 14 is the silver, and the level 15 is the bronze. That's the way I saw it. The Wampa, you could easily, I said that was my second priority. I'd say, through 8 for the stats, using it on any dark side team would just be a treat, where you want the offense, the armor penetration, like Sacha was saying earlier. The level 9 is usable. It does boost Wampa in Grand Arena. Solo Base confirmed that for me. So it is an option, but at the top of Kyber 1, I don't know how often I'll be seeing a Wampa-able team, Wampa Crown or no. Darth Vader, I got, and you could go through level 14 just for the stats and be perfectly happy. The level 15 is interesting. I'm curious if you guys, think that this is going to be very useful in 3 versus 3. Probably only on attack, but what makes the Kron strong is when allies die, So very inefficient banner wise. I don't know. I don't know if I feel it. Maybe just a 5 versus 5 thing. And then I rank Sortie last. You could go all the way through 14 and enjoy the stats. The 15, and using that to make a proper droid team, it's been okay in the past. It'll catch somebody who's unprepared off guard, but as efficient as things have been, at least for the last couple of seasons, 2-3 seasons, uh, I don't see it. I don't really see it having a place because I think I fought one last season, easily dunked it because I had something reserved that was meant to deal with something stronger than that. So I just overpowered it. And that's kind of my focus for the FDCs. I did pick up the Kixcron with the with the marquee event. Probably just going to be a stat stick and might be for Afra. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I'm thinking about it like that. As far as crons that I was looking forward to picking up here this week, wanted to have one Marok. You could argue there's a couple different ways to have the level 6. I think that the least potentially harmful one would be the long text Inquisitorius. Then you could go for Mark if you're feeling like taking some risk, because if you're forced to hit a tank, then you're kind of stuck hitting a tank, which I don't like. So I'm not sure about that one. Night Trooper, obviously, this is with Night Trooper 9, 400% defense to offense 6, and then the cooldown reduction level 3 with as much crit damage as I could tack on. I couldn't get these couple stubborn rolls of tenacity to roll into crit damage. They wanted to go into something worse. So we just kept the tenacity for now. It's not something that the team misuse. Ninth Sister Cron, of course, is a top item because this level 9 last time we had it was really fun. I want to say the last time we had it, it was set up with a better Cron for the team. But this one's okay. We still have this long text level 6, cooldown reduction level 3. Lots of crit damage. Maybe some health besides. It would be great if I could get rid of this protection, health steal. Get either health or crit damage. Rose Cron, I know you guys were talking about, the level 6s, maybe the stun. I've got turn meter for this one, offense for the scav one. I think I've got a couple other resistance crons that I don't have necessarily strict plans to use, but I do have that stun as well in case something emerges. Again, turn meter level 6, 25% turn meter level 3, Rose 9, lots of crit damage. Pattern. Scav Ray Cron, we have two of them. One with offense stacking level 6 that has a prod up level 3, best used with Seer. And then a level 3, 25% turn meter with a turn meter level 6 for use with any other resistance team. I did pick up a veteran smuggler Cron, no specific plans. I want to say that's about it. I have a couple other crons besides, but these were kind of things I more or less stumbled into. Again, this is me doing through the 100s, the crystal refreshes, and having done the calendar, and having done the ascension. So if it looks like I have a lot going into week 1, this is probably as best armed as I have ever been for a new Datacron set going into the. So this is very well developed for me, personally. How about you guys? What'd you guys spring for?
Yeah, I kind of I don't know if I went the more seasons I do this, the more efficient I feel that I get at identifying which crons I want to work on as I build them. And it only gets better because of the calendar that seems to come out every conquest. So instead of it basically ensures that week 1 I have all the crons I need, especially of a new set. Because I get to take them up a couple levels if I like them. I get to keep going. And yeah, I think I was looking at my inventory and I think I have like 26 or 27 crons in my inventory right now. It's actually kind of absurd.
Yeah, wow, really nice.
So, I mean, I think only like 6 of them or 8 of them are level 9. I'd have to double check. But I have all the focus data crons done.
Thanks. Well, I did forget to mention a stat stick. I picked up a high health cooldown reduction to be like my replacement Malgus Cron. I'll miss the old Malgascron, but this will have to do. Sorry, back to you, Dagger.
No, just I forgot where my train of thought was.
You were saying how, things have just become much more efficient, and, even though you're
Oh,
picky, even
yeah.
though you've been trying to be pickier, you still have quite a few Datacrons going into this first week, regardless.
Correct. Yeah. The calendar allows you to just kind of power through, so your efficiency looks so much better on paper. No, that's a slip screen. A flare screen is when you come off the weak side. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, Dagger's coaching a kid in the background about the finer points of basketball. Divided attention.
Well, yeah, between so my oldest just had their first day of school today, so new playbook, all their school books, their syllabi, right, all that stuff, and it's just crash course tonight. So I'm here, but yeah, that's why I thought we were talking about Datacrons earlier.
I'm really, Fatal,
only-
I can't help but be a little disappointed that you didn't immediately seize on the mention of the word playbook to plug the stream. I would have laughed. I think we all would have laughed.
I think I exhibited extraordinary self-restraint.
I had to say, because I want you to know I'm disappointed that was the road that you did not take.
I will be suing for infringement.
Well, thank you for that, Day. I appreciate your input. How about the rest of you guys? Set 23, what was your priority? What was must have going into this week? What are you excited about?
You go, Fatal.
I don't have necessarily too much to add to that. One initial shout out. I think Rolocron has a very strong argument to just park at 13. Armor penetration as a stat is way worse than you would think. And
for our last episode, yeah.
Can you expand on that for noobs like me?
Yeah, so I actually messed around with the calculator a day or two ago just to finally play around with the numbers for myself. So the thing you need to understand is most characters have a base defense value around let's say 700 to 900 to 1,000, and most characters have a base armor pen value around 150 to 250. And in rare cases, that can get up to 400, and the most notable characters are 500. But those are exceedingly rare, and not only are they rare, for reasons I cannot tell you, CG has all their new printed characters have been going down in penetration values. Even, historically, I associated strength attackers with armor penetration because they have it on their mastery. But, S733 and a fair few recent character releases are strength attackers, and their base penetration values are about the same as some old agility attackers. And so the significance of that is because when you have a Datacron that says plus 400% defense, and then you have a Datacron that says plus 400% armor penetration, you need to understand that we are talking a magnitude of 3 or 4 times difference on the base value alone.
So you're not really offsetting it, is what you're saying.
Yeah. The unwary, the unsuspecting might think that there are 400% armor penetration counters the 400% defense, and it's barely making a quarter of its way into the values. I think
the plus 40% armor pen on the level 14 Datacron, especially during a season where we have defense in the pool, the average case you are going to increase your damage by 1%, and in a lot of cases it will be less than 1%. The suggestion is mostly for if you're free to play, if you're not necessarily slamming through the whole set. I know a lot of us on the podcast are power consumers of Datacrons, so it's maybe less relevant to us, but I would still kind of argue regardless that it's the unfortunate casualty of how CG is doing FDCs that I think a lot of FDCs, once you start to see Armor Pen for what it is, you really just start to see that it kind of sucks, in my opinion, that CG is kind of just padding in 100% Armor Pen, or like the Wabacron, right? Is like plus 100% offense, plus 100% crit damage, plus 50% Armor Pen. And that plus 150% Armor Pen is such a nothing burger, which, like, granted, 100% of each other's stat is, like, already pretty sick. Like, that could easily argue that Kron doesn't need more Armor Pen. But, yeah, I just really want to hammer home that, like, unless it's specifically on, like, the maybe 15 characters in the game that have sick base pen values, plus Armor Pen on Datacrons is typically a filler stat unless we're, like, specifically in seasons where defense is not around and also not being modded.
So it's interesting you say that, because one of the things I was just thinking about with the transition to this new set and having the previous set where a lot of people have built up these like crazy high defense Datacrons, like you were thinking, well, the other set we just lost the Armor Pen, so the thought was always, we were offsetting some of the defense crons by having Armor Pen on the previous set, and then think, oh, now how are you going to counter some of these defense crons without any Armor Pen? But I guess it sounds like what you're saying is it wasn't making that much of a difference before anyway.
The fun little piece of trivia that I came up with that I calculated together. So y'all know that I've been crazy obsessed with defense sets, and so like with the type of mods that I've been farming, I can get a character to plus 150% defense on mods alone. And so I took a character like OG Cal and how much armor he has, and then I calculated against 250 base pen, which is like numerically it's dead center, but like it's like slightly above average. So if my character has 150% defense modding and like nothing else added on Kron, and then the attacker with 250% base pen brings a 400% penetration Datacron, it doesn't break even, or it falls short of breaking even by like 1% or something. It's like very close to breaking even, but that's how wide the disparity is. I can hard counter a whaled out, maxed out Armor Pen Kron with my mods. Is like kind of the state of things right now. Crazy, man. I don't know why CG is power creeping penetration, because defense mods seem kind of fucking good, but
yeah, my mod farming goals from our conversations here the last several weeks have pretty much been focused into crit damage and defense only. So I appreciate the wisdom. I'm trying to get more options in defense, because it's not that I don't have a decent number of defense mods, but they're really set up to be very just classically tank mods. I don't really have defense mods in significant number that are good for attackers and so on. So, good goal to keep pursuing long term.
Yeah, it's really like armor penetration as a stat gets better the less defense minded somebody is. So if you're fighting against like ye random player who loves health sets with offense secondaries or health secondaries or whatever, that they're just not focusing on defense, Armor Pen might still get some okay value if we're not in a defense season. But like it really just feels like we are. I mean, if defense starts to popularize, Armor Pen Crons will just like kind of plummet in value in a weird way.
And to be clear, what we discussed in our last episode was, so what do you do in lieu of that? Usually just crit damage. Yeah?
Crit damage, unless defense values are exceedingly low, crit damage far outperforms even when we're talking like comical amounts of defense.
Go. And we do have crit damage available in significant quantity on this set. So
seemingly eternally.
Yeah.
When's the last time we didn't have crit damage actively available? I actually couldn't tell you at this point.
I'm cool with it. Like, I want to think that they think that CG thinks it's one of their weaker offense stats. so they feel comfortable just kind of throwing it around willy-nilly. That's my guess. Baseless theory.
I'm enjoying it.
All right. Thank you for that, Fatal. Other folks in the room, what set 23 Datacron preparations were on your list?
I think Vet Chewy might be pretty good in threes.
RJT, Vet Bros, what are we thinking?
I don't know, but every single time we get a Datacron where somebody assists doing 50% more damage, he also doesn't have I was looking this up, he doesn't have a Mercron, but Vethan does, and that bothered the hell out of me. Like, it still sticks in my craw that Vethan has the Merc tag, but he doesn't. It's almost like they just don't want Balin to be good.
How about a B team of Hondo Lead, L3, and Vet Smuggler?
Sure. I mean, like, I don't know how much use you'll get out of it, but I think that it's worth having. I mean, like, I don't like saying you want to plan for a cleanup, but I mean, were you to clean up, it's going to be a lot of damage output.
Sure.
I also just think in 3v3, it's the highest percent usage of him, because in 5s, I just don't see a place for him.
I agree. If you are going to pick up that Cron, you'll probably only see use for that in 3 versus. I think that's likely fair.
But that's just an interesting one. Outside of that, it was like Second Sister is pretty good, even though I think Ninth Sister is better.
Yes.
Honestly, you're probably going to want to build a whole bunch of Night Trooper Crons because the DTMG team wants different stats than the Great Mothers teams.
Yeah, expand on that. I know you kind of mentioned that earlier before we were recording, but yeah, this is the time. This is your moment. Shine.
Yeah, especially in 3v3, like your Night Trooper is really gonna move around. In 3v3, there's no real place for him with Night Sisters because if you are into using a non-spirit third with Great Mothers, it's probably gonna be Death Trooper, the Night Death Trooper, whatever the name of that thing is. DTP, that one.
DTF.
DTF? Yeah. No, that's what I'm hoping for later tonight. No, DTP. All jokes aside, yeah. So I think in 3s especially, you're gonna want to put him with like bulk, or maybe I don't even know necessarily how you'd build it that much differently. I think Great Mothers want more damage output, whereas the DTMG team wants more bulk. But when you're breaking down where you use your characters, and the fact that you're gonna want a Night Trooper level 9, and the Night Trooper level 9 is reasonably good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're just gonna want to put it with DTMG for 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it's I don't remember who all the people are that the Night Sisters that have level 9s.
Mother Talzin, Talia, Alkalite.
And DACA? I think DACA.
Oh, and
DACA's there.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically, it's basically just a DTMG, or sorry, it's a Night Trooper for GM in 5s, and then whatever 9 works in 3s, and then Talzin.
Yeah.
So basically, make sure that you have 2 Great Mothers Crons, is I guess the point I'm trying to make.
Mm-hmm. And because you're going to be wanting several of these Crons as stat sticks, regardless of what the 9 ends up being, Dagger mentioned it earlier, that practice of just, conscientiously rolling up each level and seeing, are these 2 stats that I revealed on 1 and 2 good enough that I want to reveal the 3? Now that I've revealed the 3, do I want to keep this one, or is it so bad that I know I'm going to have to re-roll it? And do I really want to spend a re-roll here so early on? We've got a lot of Cron to go. The idea being that if you're more picky early on in the development of a Cron, you're going to be likelier to have decent Crons at the end of the road. And, yeah. Wandered away. My monitor just reset, so we're
one of the things I find interesting as the focused Datacrons have continued to evolve is that at least for me, it feels like same as the previous FDC set. There's probably, and this may change for 3s and 5s, but it feels like there's 3, if not 4, of the FDCs will not really find a home with their sort of intended clan or faction. I don't know how many people are going to use the Rolocron with Rebels. Likely not. Wampa and Vader are both pretty good stat bombs that could be used elsewhere. I mean, I think Wampa has probably the best argument to stick with Wampa, especially in 3s. But like even the Sorticron has some pretty decent stats that could be utilized elsewhere, and maybe the pirate one kind of fits for pirates depending on how you're using them. But they all seem to have some pretty good utility and the teams they're on aren't going to necessarily benefit as much as using them on a better team to kind of take them to the next level,
Agreed. Yeah, you got to think flexibly about these, and the stat profiles on the focus Datacrons kind of distract your eye from the so-called intended team, right? Because they do feature stats that are not otherwise available on the rest of.
Exactly.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
But the other one I was going to ask, which I think may be an interesting cron to throw in, would be like putting like two sort of high end characters with a Chief Chirpa cron, and just having him die out for them, because I would imagine he's relatively low. Although I guess I think mine might have been R-rated because of the speeder bike raid.
But you could do like what Sasha was saying, and if you wanted to trigger the condition, just lock him in this week with like 0 mods.
Oh yeah, you could do something like that just to have him sort of be like the sacrifice stat boost, kind of like Mission does with the Zalbar cron.
The whole I dare you to AoE. I just dare you.
Yeah, kill this guy by mistake, and then the other two will be hard to beat the rest of the way. So something like that could be interesting.
Sure.
So
good observations. Appreciate you. TJ, anybody else? Notes on your set 23 Datacrons you want to throw in?
I did. I'm up to all 30 of them are at least at 5, and I'm up to like 13 of them being at 9 now.
Dear God.
So I wasn't playing with the set just because, like I said, the variety I wanted to go to, and I wanted to make sure the focus Datacrons were all set as well.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
A couple of the ones I did, I'm looking at is I wanted to have 3 or 4 in the back pocket with the 25%. That's always a good one to keep just in case something's going to come up and you just need to be in front and never go away. So that felt good. And then 2% light side. What is it? Fatal Ant Bag. I wanted to make sure I've got some of those with some good, because there's tenacity on it. There's health you can put into it. So like if I want to build a Jabba side of things, I think it's got a lot of merit on some of the stats that usually work out pretty well. So yeah, I've kept it pretty wide, and then I'm just starting to funnel out more onto like rerolling crit damage or other things that I want to go from there as well.
Sounds good. Good. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Because Fatal, you mentioned earlier that you think Saw is considerably weaker now, and he certainly is with the loss of his Rebel Fighter Datacron. But what about that light side max health damage level 3 and, a stat stick full of health or crit damage, or if you were worried about it, tenacity, whatever. But you think that level 3 doesn't add enough threat in itself to make Saw a temptation on defense?
I mean, the amp egg is 2%, right? So we're talking 30% health. AoE chip is like,
yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for banner attacks on some squads, maybe, but
it's not the one shot it used to be, for sure.
My view on Saw is more that I think he plays the space decently well between. I would say he's like top 20 defense teams when you invest him properly, and like, yeah, Luthen and characters like Captain Rex or Drogue in one place appropriately can really kind of transform a team and exert more pressure than people are used to dealing with.
Mhm.
But yeah, finding which way you want to transition now that the typical prop crons are gone for him. I mean, my gut says, start with light side bulk plus a defense bomb and work your way from there. I mean, shocker, I know defense, huh? But just I think I trust the squad fundamentals that just sort of reinforce their base play pattern if you're looking to post him. And if you see some concerning match history results, then start to adjust from there. But truth be told, the usual web for matchups for who goes where is kind of just so all over the place right now that I couldn't actually tell you what people are going to default to using on Saul. Just because I feel like a lot of teams are working new jobs this season that, or at least potentially are working new jobs that might throw off the usual rhythm.
Okay.
I mean, let me see what was most common against my Saul in the past. 59 battles. Some of these will be with the Datacron, but Treya, Impact's not really going to matter for Treya, right? Arguably defense wouldn't either, but that just depends on if you're happy to see Treya use or not. Gas, certainly a consideration. Defense would be in conversation with that to a pretty solid degree. You get down to seer type stuff. Yeah, I mean, defense seems relatively worthy.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate that. All right. That actually was my last prepared item for week 1. Conversation points. Anything else you guys wanted to mention here as far as items for week 1? Yeah, go ahead.
I can toss on the pile.
Please.
I did my stat soapbox earlier, but I do think this isn't an immediate concern, but honestly, my number one focus on this set has been trying to hunt for good Datacrons, and it has been fucking impossible. I'm trying to look for Datacrons that are ideally I would love to see a 90% health plus the 150% shielding level 3, because I think there are some matchup, right? It's kind of the recursive. We had the Ufu set with defense on the stats, and then I think it was the level 6 was Ufu triples their defense or whatever. That you just
200% thing.
See, yeah. You see some shit happen when you magnify the crown stats by
compounding kind of.
Yeah. So there are definitely some matchups where I think either compounding health for certain squads, I think J&K could be an interesting beneficiary if you're not on the Ezra shit, but even if you're on the Ezra shit, once that expires, I think that's really where the defense is gone, so there's a hole for durability that I definitely think either recursive health bombs, or honestly even if you're going for protection bombs, if you're really just trying to juice your ratio, the extra protection up would also just really help contest percent health for matchups where you might be favoring protection for that reason. I've been trying hard to get them, man. I very, very hard. And my best health cron right now is 40.
Ooh, yeah, that's tough, man. Sorry to hear that.
But yeah, I mean, this is very much a marathon, not a sprint thing, especially because, as I mentioned, I think 2 months from now is where their value could kind of skyrocket. Even though I would fucking love to have some for this week because I would love to post them. But yeah, I think that's going to be kind of my number one focus, trying to farm aside from all the effects-based stuff.
All right. Well, appreciate that, guys. That wraps up the week 1 stuff. Let's go ahead now and get into patron questions. We had a good handful here. Let me pull those right up.
Oh, sorry. Real quick.
Go ahead. Right on in.
Stick Ray. Obviously a pretty good Datacron. Worth noting, the boost will be lesser in 3v3. That definitely is probably still something solid, but do be prepared for the possibility that she isn't exactly one-shotting everything under the sun.
Yeah. Right. That's like, 8. If you had 2 other Relic of 9 characters on the team, that's another 18 times 25% damage that she's missing out on. So, yeah. Fair point. Good throwing. All right. First question up from JJ's dad. Is there a spreadsheet or infographic of some kind for what different Datacron level 369? Yes, there is. It just came out today. It's on my Discord for the infographic to go with it, but I also do show it in the video that came out on my YouTube for my guide for Datacron set 23. So check that out. Appreciate you giving me the freebie there, JJ's dad. All right, next question from Link. How good do you guys think the Pirates will be in 3 versus 3 with the Kicks Datacron? Will you try some defensive, and also will you try some defensive stuff with the Rolocron, or keep it on offense? So I guess the first part of that, how good do we think the Pirates will be in 3 versus 3 with the Kicks Cron? So what are you looking at right now? You're looking at Athano, and if you're using the Kicks Cron with Kicks, then Kicks is on the team. And then what does that imply? I mean, if it's on defense, you would, I guess, have Quiggled, but no, I guess you'd put down Smee, and then if they focus Smee, then Kicks is the threat to revive him. But if it was something like Quiggled, Kicks, and Ithano Quiggled Kicks, that just sounds like nothing. So, I don't know. What do you guys think on that one? Plans for Pirates with the Kicks Cron. Anything jumping out at you week 1, if you went for it?
I kind of like Ithano with Quiggled and Smee, and maybe no Kicks, even though he has the level 15, or is it 15 or not? Yeah, 15.
He has a 15.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I like the attacker mix with the tank.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't know. I don't expect much from them in 5s, or in 3s, to be honest. But I think that's probably the comp I will lean towards.
Okay. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but I am thinking about this Cron as my Afrocron.
Oh, the Kicks one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there could be some utility with the Sorticron there too, with some droid synergy.
Sure, there could be. Yeah, I just liked the potency on this Cron, and then that level 6. Whenever dark side allies grant a buff to another ally, that ally gains 5% turn meter. I see that getting some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Sorticron has a really high potency as well too.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts from the rest of you gentlemen about Pirates with the Kicks Cron? Plans? Dreams? Aspirations?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think you should even consider using the squad until Mazganada and Hado come out. At least at our level of play. Yeah. Like, I'm not even.
I'm so glad you said something, Fatal. I'm so glad you said something, Fatal. That definitely changed the game of the landscape. Of that is not a 15. I doubt that's a 30. That's just unfortunate truth of the matter. I 100% align with the Maz, but just even then, man, it's like trying to push the Smee factor into the situation, obviously, because you want to do something else. Quiggle's like novel and all that, but it just nowhere. I cannot see that team being at 15, and definitely not a point like, well, what am I going to take to kill this super team or whatever else is set up for on it? Oh man, the Pirates will be the ones to do it.
Sure.
I don't care, focus Datacron or not, man. Fatal call it out. I stand by his statement of it. It's like, it's just like the setup for this new Pirate Era Legacy. I'll R9 my Hondo team, and that would come out with the one coming up and the other team, but I don't care. Focus Datacron or not. There's just no world where I feel like that could be something.
don't think CG intends them to matter in PvP right now. I think this
No.
is basically just a bonus raid squad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
If they really thought it, I think you said it perfect when you said Fatal. Why didn't they just bring out Moz first? Obviously, like it's like not even being able to put the true power to the team. It's just not there.
I want to say this is maybe the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, that we've been sold a bespoke Datacron where you didn't actually have a powerful team to field immediately.
I think Jedi Temple Guard Kron is also very weak, and I think we've had weak FTCs before that. Well, okay, maybe not. Well, I don't know for FTCs. I would have to like,
So I think the problem with it is though, and I think to your point, that you really don't get to see what the full power is, and by the time the intended leader comes out to show the full power, because the whole team in the kit is supposed to be on her team. We'll have what?
Less than half life, right?
Less than half. No, well, we don't get her for another 2 months.
That's what
So
I'm saying. Oh, geez,
I would say you have maybe what 30 days, maybe, of seeing what that's going to do. So it's like this at least with the master window, there was a good amount of cycle into the life of seeing what it's supposed to be. Again, Fatal's right. I'm not commenting on that piece, but the usage is actually there where it's like, here's your intended leader on top of, and now we're not even seeing that.
Sure. All right. Second part of Link's question: will you try some defensive stuff with the Rolocron or keep it on offense? I think mostly on offense. Assists on any ability used by a light side ally seems really powerful, but like anything to do with assists or focusing on a target, I don't rely on the AI to properly focus a target. So my gut is, at least for going into this, would be to hold that for offense. What say you, gentlemen?
I agree. I like it for offense. The flexibility it gives you with different teams you could use it for.
Yeah.
I think there's.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think there's some pretty potent defense candidates, but right now I think I can make a better trade with it on offense to buy more power on defense than it would otherwise cost me. That I will probably end up using it on offense for the moment.
Yep.
I have a couple of defensive ideas. I think there's room to play with it.
Anything
obviously,
you
mine's
can
all
share
the
with the
bit though.
class?
I don't know yet, so
Okay.
I don't want to share it and call it. I mean, obviously, week one data will be able to look at better ideas of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some initial thoughts, because anything where they're starting with a buff and they get to go in front, and then it just never goes away is a great tactic, right? Where it's like you're limiting out what like a Treya or something else must be used, and if you don't, you're really setting yourself up for failure. I think it gives way to being its own defensive setup, where you've only got one or two options before you're just screwed.
Mm-hmm.
I just think prawns like that will have much better defensive options in 5v5. And maybe in 3v3 is probably not going to have the impact that it can with 5 guys instead of 3. So maybe,
Just the volume of assists.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next question here from Miasmo. He's got a two-part here. So the first one is, if you stopped playing Swugga, what would you fill that time, that void of time with? Honestly, you're not trying to make us look good here, I think. Because if I didn't spend the considerable amount of time I did on this, I'd probably just be in better shape. I'd probably just be more active. I spend a lot of time on my duff thinking about this game, scheming, such. So I'd probably just be in a better state of health. Thank you for asking. How about you guys?
I was going to say the same thing. I'd probably be in way better shape, but plus I sit in the chair all day for my job, so it's add in the time I play this game, it's definitely taken a toll on the physique. Not that that's an excuse. I mean, I should get out and
That's
be more
right.
active
Yeah,
anyway.
no, I'm completely going to blame it on the game and not my own misprioritization of time.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. How about the rest of the room?
I'd probably find another OCD outlet or something. I don't know.
Probably what would happen. I think that's probably the other answer is if it's not this, it's just something else of an equal consideration that is doing something else.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Fatal, any insight there?
And I did my temporal triage back when GAC got reworked, and like what was it, like the after the first season or 3, when I was like, all right, this shit's not sustainable. Like that in my eyes, that was like, okay, like as cool as that first season was, where it was kind of like a tournament, as cool as scouting every round is, like, yeah, to me it just looked like a autobahn to burnout. So I took measures that I could to strip the what I consider to be wasteful shit out of Galaxy of Heroes for me, and if I'm sitting down with the game, the majority of the time is to do something that I enjoy with it. So I don't really feel like I put in excessive time on the game these days. It's either for streaming or CW or preparing for a GAC season. So like,
but if that aside though, if you had to pull the plug and suddenly the time that you put into this game was freed up, what would you be doing with that time?
I don't think it's all that much time. I don't know. I kind of agree with Sasha. It's like, yeah, probably just some similar hobby.
Okay.
Some similar outlet.
Fair. Next one here from me as well was, what Datacron are you most excited to play around with that you think is underrated? Interesting question. The one that I'm excited to play around with?
I'll jump in with one.
Please.
And it was one that I referenced before, and I don't know if I'll really use it, but I did roll a Chirpa level 9.
Yeah.
And it's one where, like, my Ewoks, God bless them, they're not doing much anything for me. But the one thing that I do feel like I can reliably count on them for is dying. And Chirpa 9, you just, whether it's you throw him as a third in with Ray, or like I kind of joked about it, but like, if you're not squeezing it down to the last few banners, sometimes like a C counter, maybe it's C against Ezra and say Ahsoka Ezra, right? And sometimes it really becomes a matter of like damage because there's no insta kill on Ezra. Well, if you can throw a third in there and still have some survivability for your C, and that third gives C 100% extra offense when that guy dies, that actually could be of some use. So it's marginal, maybe a corner case, but hey, we're entering threes. Threes explores lots of different corners, so there's room perhaps for that case.
Yeah, good one. Appreciate that. Who else wants to step up? Datacron, you're most excited to play around with that you think is underrated?
Just open it up. It doesn't have to be an Ewok cron, guys.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't
Ewok.
strictly. No, I mean, as far as excitement goes, I want to see. I like the idea of Night Trooper being really effective with DTMG, but I don't know, because in the past, Malgus, I want to say, still ate it up, and I'm not willing to commit to that too much. Otherwise, I was just really excited to get, not for this Acolyte level 9, but this Kron just because it was my replacement Kron for Malgus. That was something that I was really sad to see go because I had such a huge health stack on that Kron. So I'm excited to have Malgus still hit like a truck for the foreseeable future. What else you guys got? Nothing really wowing you.
If I can actually get one, I do think a health stack shield level 3 could really mess some people up if you put it in the right spot. I don't know if I'm actually gonna. There's like 3 routes for defense right now, and that cron only hits 1 route, but I think it would hit it pretty good. That
Okay.
if I could just, I don't know, health and protection just don't exist. I've come to learn, or like the moment that you hit 40% health, the game is like best I could offer you is 40% protection now.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and
A
complain.
related question to that, like, do we have a confirmation, like historically or anything, about weighted rolls on stats? Anecdotally, I mean, it certainly feels like that. Like I know that exactly what Fatal's describing. But have we heard anything from them on that over the years?
I know Lycius has tracked this stuff historically, and in fact, I think they were talking about this earlier today. I think they were talking about it with regards to level 9 stuff, though. Level 9 does have weighted rolls, I believe. I don't know for stats.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that way with the Inquisitor long text level 6. I think I went like 10 or 12 rolls in a row not getting it. I thought this shouldn't be possible. But that one felt, that it was weighted down. I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but
Yeah, my ninth sister cron was a bitch to roll correctly. Yeah, I remember that in particular. I don't remember all the details, but I remember that specific feeling of getting the roll I wanted, and then the ticker tape across my mind when I saw it was, God damn it. Like, God damn it, it's over. Thank fucking God.
yeah. It's brutal.
I'm gonna go to the other side. If you're talking about one I want to play with, I want to see what the Wampacron does if it gets used with Wampa or wherever else it goes.
Okay.
Because I love the stats, man. It's such a slappy, and it's a fun thing. And if it goes with the Wampa, a la the Sid or something else, getting to see Wampa back in action again, TW or not TW or whatever, I'm excited for it.
Good.
I want to see if Wampa can beat a GL
Fair.
in threes anyway.
That would be fun to see. I would wish you the best of luck. I mean, there are a couple where it could be feasible.
Yeah, there's a couple that sounds, you kind of work through the math. Like I've seen some videos of some pretty ungodly 300k basics and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that'll be the decision, like what Fatal was mentioning earlier. You're gonna roll the Wampacron on Wampa, or is it a matchup for which you might be better served with a high defense light side set 22?
Right.
Good considerations either way, though. All right. Next question here from Super Mard. Will Wampacron actually be used on them or on another team? Thoughts on the TW viability of Wampa? Well, we don't really talk about TW on this show in general, but as far as its viability, I don't know about you guys. We're all in Gauntlet guilds. You see Wampa getting any serious play in TW?
If I had to guess, the level of the Star Killer teams was a possibility. I can't remember where it was, but if I don't know if you remember, go back in the day. Old school ATF was doing some fun shenanigans, soloing out a full team. It's the possibility of it being there as well.
Yeah.
So, but if I had to guess, it'd just be one of those B teams that are gonna knock it out. I could still see it doing it. If giving her stats and having 5 targets to hit actually, funny enough, works to her advantage depending on what you're going against. As long as you can retribution and do all that, she can ramp herself well enough. They'll just fade away.
Yeah. I mean, a suitably curious guild officer would check and see if an opposing guild was going to have a whole bunch of these. And so if they did have a ton of them, say, oh man, they're really well equipped to run Wampas, it's just going to raise the floor of your own TW defense, right? You're going to go to the deliberate effort of making something that cannot be Wampa, regardless. So maybe that'll catch people off early, maybe for this first war of the set. But I think word would spread pretty soon otherwise what this was successful against. And I don't really see it shining in TW. I don't know if anybody wants to push back on that.
I broadly agree with you.
Mhm.
The one thing I'll point out is TW scoring does not benefit undersize at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look, man, I've seen some shit in the past, but broadly, I would say the sort of teams that Wampa can prey on should probably be going down for minimal banners anyway.
Mhm.
That on some level, you're kind of just doing it for novelty or for faster wall clears.
Makes sense. All right.
But yeah, what you said about like maybe policing, you know, certainly there are some squads that make appearances right now that I could imagine him taking.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically where I'm at. Is the whole idea of that? It's just going to make you have to go above a certain threshold.
Sure. And the other part of that question from Supermard was, will Wampacron actually be used on them or on another team? And I've been saying this before I even made the Datacron video I said earlier. I think it's mostly going to see service away from Wampa.
Now, I expect you'll see a lot of her in threes, though. Threes is Sid. Threes is less characters to worry about.
Yeah, if you are gonna, it's gonna be here in threes probably to see Wampa. I think you're right there. Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's just that if you're gonna see where she gets to, if it's killing a GL, it's probably going to be in threes more so than in fives, right? Where there's more characters to beat you up. I said the same thing when you're saying with the level of the B team, right? But here with less characters and less things happening to you, and there's a lot less of the ways to interact with her to slow her down with these stats pushing back, and then what they've done for it, if they've set her up to be able. You're trying to Wampa-proof your board, it's going to be tougher. So it's going to be, this is probably going to end up being the one where if you do show prevalence to want to use Wampa on something, it's like, I want you to use it here type situation. And I think we'll get more of that as it comes from week one. But in threes, you're going to get your break glass. And I feel like Wampa's back on the menu to be that break glass for a certain number of teams.
Yeah, in 3v3 with 15 teams, you're not Wampa-proofing your board. It's going to kill something.
Probably fair, especially here. Yeah. All right. Next questions come from Banja. Now, we've already covered this in the normal course of the show, but he said, what cron setups are you looking forward to use with the resistance setups, and where do you think Stick Ray is going for 3? So, about resistance, we like 25% turn meter in general. The 2% turn meter is going to be generically good for like your Finzori team. You might do the 2% stacking offense with your Scav Ray Cron. Could go with 25% turn meter on the 3 as well. But if you're mostly going to use it with like Seer Malicos, probably better off going with the protection up level 3 instead. Rose is going to be the default level 9 for your Finzori team, I think. And then, yeah, Stick Ray in 3 versus 3. I'm really not sold yet. I'm not sure. Might be a third that I kind of throw in randomly with main Galactic Legend Ray and see if that causes any kind of pain. Otherwise, it might be part of like a sneaky B team in the back. Something like that. What say you guys? I mean, I know we talked about the resistance setups earlier. Any notes you want to add on top of that, really?
It's just the Vet Smuggler. I know Dagger said it. We brought it up. To me, the Vet Smuggler, the bonus turn always... on the show, we've talked about it I don't know how many times. When there's a world of bonus turn that
I don't think they get a bonus turn. I mean, his normal kick gets a bonus turn when Veteran...
No, the level 9. The level 9
the 9 said that he just...
It's an assist.
It's just an assist.
Yeah. Sorry, bonus turn. I'm sorry, the assist. The additional damage.
But it's for 50% more damage. It's significant.
But I got his numbers up to almost 11k without even trying at R8. So the damage he provides and actually where he can go, and also with the 25% allowing your team to go, that's going to push. Like I put 25% on my my Vetcron, just because I want them out there doing things, and if they're going off that amount of damage, ramping in, has viability. I don't know where yet. I know Dagger said it. But either way, I'll take the assist damage and ramping 50% and almost 11k with that pop each time.
Appreciate that, guys. Next question here from Single Malt Jedi. Do you think JMK versus Slacker will work with the product level 3 on the new set rather than using the Hodocron? People were getting it done with high defense set 22, which had no such thing as a protection up to 3. So maybe, and especially as Fatal alluded to earlier, if you're going to combine that prod up level 3 with a health stat stack on the Kron, yeah, you probably have a case. I wouldn't be surprised if I see that this season. What say you, gentlemen?
I think there's viability to the statement that it's going to be there, especially with the health build. I know there was like a limit that it was going to be the one you wanted to hit, right? So getting those numbers right now, and you can get it pretty high. Durability is there, and it's still going to go after the 5s with your setup. So a lot of people will have the same setup still, and he's naturally high defensive anyway. So it's like you have the time to build it in.
Yeah, if you're putting health on the Kron and you already had that kind of health modding from last go around, yeah, nice dovetail there.
Yeah, so it's like I kind of agree. It's like it's not hard to reach the numbers you want to reach, and we get to stack in crit damage as well. I would say your damage dealer, which is JMK, is going to love that because it's just you're pushing yourself into numbers that are going to be huge.
Any other thoughts on that from the room?
So I broadly agree, but I'm kind of thinking harder on it. So crucially, the defense crons also have light side bulk. And okay, so cards on the table. I don't really play JMK versus SLK at all. Yeah. So I have like zero experience to like, but from the couple of fights that I've seen, when you like if it goes south and you're losing characters, it's usually like your protection up is dropped, SLK has ramped, and like people are just getting popped from full, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking here is the level 3 on paper is plus 150% health, but you have to actually take damage increments enough to reach those breakpoints so that you actually get that value that, if that fight plays the way I saw sometimes where SLK just one-shots your characters, that's you are times 0 extra health at that point. That it might not actually help the matchup that much, where like the defense bombs help certainly to some degree at a matchup, but also the bulk, right? That 60% bulk is applying to all of your initial protection up and all that extra stuff and buying you time at that point as well. That now that I think about it, it actually might not be as good as it sounds for the matchup.
Okay, so you're not necessarily an early believer, even with a high health stack, going with the light side product level 3.
If you go for a high health stack, like the stats itself could be
you're broadening
useful.
that window, right?
Yeah. Like
exactly.
Just a stat stack, health stack, like could definitely help. I'm just saying that the level 3 might actually just be a total dud, unfortunately.
Okay. Please, Sasha, you got something to say?
No, I was thinking the same thing as Fatal, in that the value of that level 3 is dependent upon like hitting those windows and not having them skipped and when you incur damage, right? If you go from 76% damage down to like 24% or all the worse to death, which does occasionally happen. And you're at much more risk of that happening if you have a lower health pool, then you're losing the benefits, or some, if not all the benefits of that cron. So, coupling, I think combined, they're pretty powerful, and it holds appeal like as a JMK option. It's definitely something I was thinking about, but you really want to make sure it's not as beneficial in my view as the 15% level 3 thick crons, 15% health and protection for each light side ally. Even though the numbers look like they, in some cases, can be pretty appealing. For a couple of reasons. One, it only lasts for 2 turns, so even if you trigger it, it's not there indefinitely. And then second, protection up doesn't increase the size of the pool to which you can be healed, and versus just having a larger health bar. And then the larger health bar also obviously sort of has the ripple effect of benefits of other product sources you get are drawing on that higher base number then. So I think it's pretty cool for JMK, but it's not. It's no guarantee. No guarantee. I could see it getting skipped, just like Fatal described that example with Slicker.
Very fair. Good
I was
warnings.
I was playing quite earlier, but I will actually just add. I do think that JMK with the recurring shields on defense might not need Ezra to start to challenge his usual would-be attackers. Right? Like I BKM is like the easiest example of we talk about matchups that can bypass. BKM is the opposite of bypass. She has to pass go 3 times basically per character. That I don't know if it necessarily stops people from dying, but I think if you just really over leverage health and mods plus cron plus level 3, I think you could just be a real asshole to BKM players in a way that makes me kind of happy.
Okay.
And I think that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, F those people.
All right. Our last question here from the Lost Swamp Rat. Do you think the Sorticron will work well in 3s with Afra and the droids? I think pretty obviously, yes, I think so. The question is that do you think this is your best choice for use with Afra in 3 versus 3? You guys think?
I like it. I like your pirate idea too. I think there's a lot of options there.
This level 3 is pretty strong though, because it is neutral in terms of alignment. So whenever a droid ally dispels a buff or debuff, yeah. Think about this. I don't think that either BT1 or 000 have a distance per se. So, not the best. So basically for stats then. That'd be about it. In which case, that's why I ask, would you really prefer that? Because maybe I might prefer the Kix Cron or maybe even the Darth Vader Cron if I don't have super great plans in mind. Any thoughts there about who your leading candidate is for use with the Afrocron?
I guess the question is, what does 150% potency do for Afra?
Big, bulky Afra.
Yeah, and generous sharing with the droids as well.
Yeah.
I also don't tend to mind Afra getting a shit ton of defense. It's a squad that your past I've seen do this. It's a squad that if it can just linger long enough, it'll tax the attacker. If it's on D, it'll tax the attacker really pretty badly. So survivability, and obviously potency leans into that too, but through Afra's mechanics. But defense itself is not too bad.
Any other notes on that one for the Afrocron?
I'm kind of looking at it for the first time, to be honest. It
Please.
It didn't really strike me as too much on first glance when I first saw the set. I guess for 3v3, the biggest thing I would say is I assume the vision is like VIP on Afra, spare parts spam on BT1, and you're kind of just trying to cruise that way. If it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of just defaulting to like imagining it against Jabba. So you lose the true damage because you've got a light side. Yeah, I like. Is it weird to say that I'm almost worried about Jabba ults here? If we're talking that matchup specifically, like,
I mean, I wasn't thinking of it with Sorty.
Yeah, neither was I, really.
Standard Afra with that.
Okay.
Just as a stats tick, really.
I was trying to see the vision. I was like,
No.
okay,
Sorry if
Afra
that wasn't
BT1
immediately
sword,
clear. Yeah.
VIP on Afra.
Yeah, if you look at her, I think it's Droid Savant. She takes 30% of her potency and shares that as defense, offense, and tenacity with all the droids.
Yeah.
So if you already have her tenacity up plus another 150, it's a pretty big hit.
Plus, I'll also shout out that I think it's only in 5v5. Unfortunately, to this day I'm a little bit shocked at how scared of Afra CG was when they made her, but I think she gives the team like 30% extra crit avoid, so that puts us right at the sweet spot with like 105 crit avoid is like a pretty fantastic place to start. That I think will complement the rest of the durability pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it sounds like this is a leading contender, if not the number one for Afra. Fair. All right.
To be made that like you could toolbox your Afra between the Darth Vader Cron and this Cron, because the Darth Vader Cron offering you, what is it, 140% crit damage up front is just like more immediately violent.
Yep.
Whereas this is just like a more well-rounded, better, more like durable team.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're going to reduce both Crons down to being a stat stick, which I think is appropriate for considering Afra, I agree. I think Darth Vader's the superior choice.
I agree with that. I just have some ideas for that Cron on offense. I think that's why I would, yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's superior. I think it's just straight up like right tool for the right job. You know, you'll know it when you see it. Like maybe that extra defense and crit avoid looks, tasty.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate that, gentlemen. All right, guys, we have made it to the end of the journey. It's takeaways and final thoughts. Been a good long road preparing here and reviewing, getting into this season. Picked up a couple things from talking with you guys. Got some ideas rolling through my head before the final lock tomorrow. But most of my work is done. I might try and improve my veteran Chewie mods just so that he's not so abysmally slow. I think he hits decently hard right now, but I want to say he's all of like 191 speed. So probably a little attention is due his way. Aside from that, just trying to purify a couple of microns that have a couple of those dud rolls. You know, if I want all health or all crit damage, I got to see if I can't roll those last one or two away. So it's really just going to be about tweaks for me going into the lock tomorrow. That's about it for my takeaways, final thoughts. How about you, TJ? What do you got for the folks?
It's been I kind of agree with Fiddle. I liked it. Right, the seasons is coming up, so I'm excited to see what the new Datacrons are going to bring in, how we're going to run with the focused, and then just what slappies are going to actually slap, or what strategies are going to come about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm generally optimistic about what we're going to see week one. Obviously, post week one, I'll look forward to the data and what that turns into for the season. But generally, man, minus the Pirates, I'm on a positive note for where we're headed for GAC.
All right. Yeah. Sasha, Aisha, how about you? Your takeaways and final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with just overall, like sharing TJ's positive sentiment. Fatal's mentioned that the meta has been in a pretty good spot for a while. Like, really, actually, I mean, some interesting stuff. I think I think defense out there is a stat. I think just sort of the meta state of the game combined with that that first week fuge, I guess you could say, the first week sort of fog of war that we have is probably going to make for a nice, messy, learning rich environment. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. And I have like relics mats for like I think 5 R9 saved up now, and I'm trying to figure out which of those I'll drop before lock. And some decisions to make there. And not sure what I'll do, but I'll probably save at least a few of them for whatever it is I learn in week 1. So yeah, that's where I am, and that's my forward look.
All right. And over to you, Fatal. Your takeaways and final thoughts.
I think it'll be a fun season. The only thing giving me a bit of stress right now is I told myself last season that I was just going to hard 9-0 this season and just like full try hard. The problem is this season has so much cool shit going on that like, how back in the day I would be like, man, winning is just boring, so I'm going to try to keep the game fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is that scenario, except for both options are fun, but one just looks incredibly fun. So, as was just mentioned, I think there's so much mess to get into, man. I think there's so much mud wrestling slop to try to explore that, like, yeah, I am very much interested in getting my rank back up to where it should be, but God
you
knows,
just can't help yourself along the way.
I should lose 1 to 3 matches this season just on principle of there's some shit I need to try, man. If it works, then maybe I'll win it anyway. But there's just some science that needs to be done. I think a lot of it also is just going to ride on how many opponents are willing to throw counter punches, because honestly, the scariest matches that I've had lately are people who are willing to post heavier. That, like, frankly, it feels like I'm learning to play heavy against efficiency pretty effectively now. That it's like kind of default comfort zone. That, like, brother, if you show me teams from 3 to 6 years ago, I will give you that treatment. We can have that conversation, but like the opponents who genuinely nearly took matches off of me are the people who came very close to throwing good counter punches that, like, just 1 or 2 tweaks would have absolutely sunk me. So we will see how things go.
All right. I appreciate that. And as the only other content creator on the stream, where can the good folks find you this week?
Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV, YouTube.com/ThePlaybook, and possibly another thing on YouTube coming shortly here. It's not the big thing. I won't get hopes up. But there's a video sitting in my head. I need to get the demon out. This video needs to get made. I had the idea last night, and it's rent free in my head right now. It will get made.
You got to belt it out. Then we'll talk about it this time next week.
Nice. I'm gonna get the demon out before I go to bed tonight.
Nice. All right, well, appreciate that, Fatal. And of course, over to you, Arsenal, our guest of honor. Thank you for sticking it out with us to the bitter. And by the way, I would have otherwise called on Dagger, but Dagger had to dip out. Appreciate Dagger making himself available for the vast majority of the show. But anyway, back over to you, Arsenal. Again, thanks for joining us. And yeah, what do you have to share with the people? Your takeaways, your final thoughts, last word for the folks at home.
Well, thank you again for having me. It's been fun. I enjoy this. So anytime you want me back, I'm happy to come. Final thoughts. Sasha needs to R9 GI for sure. That's one.
Noted.
And we were kind of joking how I think we've been in the same group for 3 weeks now and haven't faced each other. So I'm hoping to.
I don't think we have ever faced. I don't think we have, which is insane over the years playing this game.
Yeah,
I think we
have we?
have one. I think so.
Did we?
Well,
Yeah,
Sasha and I
let me,
didn't fight at all last season, and we were in the same bracket all season.
Yeah.
How the fuck is that possibly true?
I don't,
I fought,
dude.
I fought
Is it
both of you
crazy?
so many times.
Just
I
look
know.
look at my
I-
match
I-
history last season, Fatal. Just look
No,
at it because you're going to see a whole bunch of the same name like twice.
Sasha, I faced you once,
You did. Okay.
and you won.
Okay.
By 30.
Undefeated.
By
But this
30
is just the
banner.
bit from Clone Wars where they always make Anakin stay away from Grievous because of one stupid line in Episode 3. The matchmaking is just like, well, canonically they never actually met, so we gotta.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Anything else though from the Arsenal? Throw it on.
No, I'm just looking forward to the season, and trying out a new Datacron set and seeing all the same faces again. Probably, maybe a few Erodiums crashing our party now, but it was a nice run where I think we had an entire season where it was no Erodiums, right? So
It's true.
Is this? Can I ask? Is that so? I know that there's sometimes weirdness in between seasons. So the people that we see on the leaderboard right now, is that a new set of Erodiums coming
I
in,
think
or
so,
is that
yeah.
just?
Yeah.
It is new. It is new.
Yeah.
That's
Welcome
They-
to hell.
they
there's another
jump-
leak in the system.
yeah, they jump up in skill rating from the previous week, and then they find themselves in Kyber
Yep.
1 with like a super high rating, and they crash the party.
Every time I
Ooh.
decide to start climbing, they start appearing again. This is bullshit.
Hey,
Yeah.
man,
Oh, actually, a third just jumped into the top 8. So
you just got to wade through the mud. That's all there is to it.
yeah,
Grit your teeth and bear it, Fatal. You'll get through it.
So anyway, well, that's that part I'm not really looking forward to, but hopefully we get some good matchups this week and get some good learnings under our belt for week 1. We can figure out some interesting counters with these new FDCs.
Very fair. All right. Well, thank you, Arsenal, for joining us tonight. Thank you, my regular co-hosts, for making yourselves available to get this done. And if you want to catch my matches live during the week, by the way, guys, I'm going to wrap this up, so you're welcome to stay with me. If you want to catch me live this week, that's going to be at twitch.tv/Tassinix. I also simulcast on my YouTube channel, Tassinix Gaming, where if you haven't been there before, there's a whole bunch of Slugger-related content you might want to check out over there. Got stuff like the GAC Omicron tier list recently updated, the how-to mod series starting with fundamentals going all the way through advanced topics, the mod guides on characters and factions that you've asked about, and of course, it's a rebroadcasting point for this very podcast, Plotting and Scheming. The show is native to Spotify, but wherever you catch an episode, check the description. You can find a link that you can plug in your preferred podcast program and follow us there. Aside from that, anything you enjoy over on the YouTube, please hit like. Hit subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Really appreciate you guys' support. The channel keeps on growing, and you guys keep pushing that momentum. In less than a month, we grew over 100 users, so really appreciate all that. And if you want to go above and beyond the Call of Duty to support the stream, there are a few ways to do so. I do have a Cash App, that is $Tassinix. I do have a PayPal, which is tassinix@gmail.com. However, if you do want to get some enhanced scouting power for your own Grand Arena game, early access to some of my content, and a couple other perks besides, you may be interested in checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/Tassinix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you, because at $5 a month, you enter the TAS House at the VIP access level, where you get early access to the Plotting and Scheming show that's coming out to our audience, our general audience, Friday mornings at 8 a.m. Patrons get it as early as Tuesday night, within hours of us recording, giving you that early edge on the first round of the week. In addition, you'll have access to exclusives that I will occasionally make for patrons, like the recent how to use the Hot Utils automation, remod your roster. That went public probably a few weeks ago, but it was exclusive for about 2 solid months, so those things exist. In addition to that, of course, we have a dedicated text and voice chat on Discord where you will usually find me lurking. So pop on in and say hi. Thank you to Andrew, Banja, Boba Isa, Deadpool Cow 28, JJ's Dad, JJ's Productions Twitch, Jobin4527, Miasmal, Mus Ross, Ray's Malvis, Sam Vimes, Sheepdog 47, Squed, Stark Strategy Gamer, Sweens 14, and White Wolf. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier is VIP Access Plus, where you get a bundled Patreon access to me and to your choice of either OmegaBot or Hot Utils Patreon. OmegaBot's a tool I highlight at the start of every one of my Grand Arena streams. Nothing else gives you such a clear, at-a-glance understanding of your opponent's offensive and defensive tendencies. And though anybody could use the tool for free to scout their opponent's last week of Grand Arena history, only patrons can pull a custom report with any number of weeks, allowing you to deep dive, really get that in-depth understanding. You get a downloadable HTML version of the report with links that you can click that go right back into swugga.gg or Insight, whichever you prefer to use, just helping you further minimize that scout time. Alternatively, you might spring for the Hot Utils Patreon, aka Chili subscription, which is your number one tool for mass mod management and loadout creation. Nothing else lets you switch so easily between your Grand Arena, TB, TW, and Raid mods. You can use it like TJ and Fatal do to comprehensively remod your roster, slice through hundreds of mods in seconds, help your guild out in TW, and a whole bunch of other odds and ends in there. Regardless, no wrong way to go at VIP Access Plus. Thank you so much to Aussie Mike, Darth Salea, Ash Sotnikam, Now For Me, Mr. Tony, Shake23501, Single Malt Jedi, Snack Attack, Striker, Super Mard, and Trouble Fingers. At VIP Access Premium, that's $15 a month for the Double Bot bundle. So Patreon access for me, OmegaBot, and Hot Utils all in one subscription. Buying those bots anywhere else costs you the same price just for the bots, which is why so many of my patrons say this is one of the best value bundles in all of Swugga. Thank you so much to Argots, Arj, Bjorn, Big Ninja, Duckstab, Darth Link, Trick Paddywhack, General Milan, Ibenek, Johnny B. Ottawa, Kev, Mini GK, Hills, Bloon, Quig, Rawling, Saldag, Sir Boss, Sophus, The Lost Swamp Rat, Trevor Boy Gaming, Wilco, and Zoltre. Of course, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper occupies the Jesters Club Elite because he is my number one supporter over the years. This madman drops into stream from time to time, drops hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, incredibly generous support over the years. Thank you so much, my man. And of course, last but never least, our special thanks first up to the Lost Womp Rat, one of my patrons, who recently helped me set up my stream deck, which is just helping make everything smoother for what I like to do with you guys here, whether I'm recording a video or live on stream. So thank you so much, Womp. Really appreciate it. Of course, to Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all you do in the background, whether it's, bringing me coffee or something to eat, or just keeping our daughter from destroying the house while I'm trying to be halfway decent at a phone game. Appreciate you. And of course, to Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal, my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for making yourselves available on a weekly basis to record our show. We're more than 2 years in, and I'm still learning from you guys every episode. Hopefully the feeling is occasionally mutual. But regardless, you all have busy work and family schedules, and I really appreciate that you see the value in joining me here to make the show. Because, a lot of great discussion, engagement surrounding what we're doing here. You guys bring so much to the discussion, and, I really wouldn't change a thing. Appreciate you so much. All right. Coming back around to the main scene, we made it to the end. Exciting, new stuff to try with a new Datacron set. It's always that way heading into such a 3v3 season. And we'll be back next week to break down what we've learned. Until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. Been real awesome. Take care.